Hello, everybody. Welcome to the latest episode of Square Triangle. This time we're talking about All In 2024, AEW's latest pay-per-view before their, next week is All Out?
We have Bash in Berlin this weekend, and then next, I think, 2 weeks?
The week after that?
Yeah, so the week after. So we got 3 podcast episodes coming in rather quick succession for you guys this month.
It's the autumn rush.
It is. So yeah, we'll have All In, Bash in Berlin, which I am going to end up watching. So we'll talk about that one, and then All Out. And I think we get like a 2-week break before the next thing. So
yeah,
it's that time of the year again.
It is. It's a good time of year. Wrestling, like we always say, wrestling's in a good spot. So this is what happens. It keeps us busy.
This was a fun show for us to watch too, kind of behind the scenes here, because we were watching it in the Discord like we normally do, and Haley had joined us for this. So this was her first time watching like an AEW pay-per-view, and she had a blast. So
yeah, Haley gets wrestling with something that, I quote, I'm using quotes here, I fucking get it now.
Yeah.
Was said throughout the entire thing.
And just the where's the orange man?
Where is the orange man?
So yeah, we'll touch upon the pre-card right now, just kind of go through the matches. I don't think any of us really watched the pre-show.
No.
Nothing happened that really affected the rest of the card for the night, but there was something that did stipulate something going into All Out in a few weeks. In the first match, we had Tommy Billington, Kip Sabian, Rocky Romero, Kyle Fletcher, Leo Rush, Action Andretti, and Top Flight taking on a heel team of Jay Lethal, Satnam Singh, Anthony Ogogo, Davari, Private Party, and the Dark Order. Nice 16-man tag to open up the pre-show for the crowd.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, face team won. So, Kyle Fletcher, Leo Rush, Action Andretti, Top Flight, they won that match. Second match was the one that had a actual effect on the forthcoming pay-per-view. We had Willow Nightingale and Tomohiro Ishii versus Chris Statlander and Stokely Hathaway. Looks like Willow and Tomohiro won, and then that sets up the stipulation for their CMLL Women's World Championship match, which is going to be between Willow and Statlander at All Out. And then the third pay-per-view, or the third pre-show match, was a 10-man tag team, just because everybody's going to get their pay-per-view paycheck for this show. We had the Von Erichs, Sammy Guevara, Katsuyori Shibata, and Dustin Rhodes versus Undisputed Kingdom and Cage of Agony. Recently, Dustin won. Yeah, face team won. Recently, Dustin Rhodes has won both the tag team and the trios titles in Ring of Honor with the Von Erichs and with Sammy Guevara. So nice little face win for them to start off the show. Mm-hmm. And then we get into the card proper. When we sat down to watch this, I had actually missed this match, so I had to go back to watch it the following day. And this something was kind of spoiled later with the Casino Gauntlet match. But we had the Blackpool Combat Club, now including Pac, since Moxley is still on vacation and Danielson is in the world title picture. Versing the Patriarchy, which is Christian Cage, Killswitch, and Nick Wayne. The Bang Bang Gang, which is Juice Robinson, Austin and Colton Gunn. And House of Black, which is Malachi Black, Brody King, and Buddy Matthews. In for the Trios title, 20-minute match, a lot of typical chaos in a match like this. Like, I can't really take notes for a match like this. It does start out pretty funny, though, where everybody is kind of squared up, and then they all turn to Christian. And Christian runs out of the match, and he's gone from the match for probably the first 10 minutes or so.
Typical patriarchy matchup.
Didn't they all just jump him at one point?
Yeah, when everybody gets taken out later in the match and everybody's laying around outside the ring, he comes back and tries to set up the ladder to get the titles. They get him down, and then just everybody jumps Christian Cage. So setting side of differences to beat the shit out of this man. Yeah, I mean, this was just everybody kind of getting their spots in. Everybody's doing dives, everybody's getting taken out. There was a sweet Wayne's World through a table to Brody King just out of nowhere. Like, you just see kind of Brody hanging out, and then Nick Wayne comes in, and they both go crashing through a table.
Something that was mentioned during that not that particular spot, but like when other people did like their jumping cutters, later on is the parallels between Cody Rhodes doing the move kind of whateverly and everyone else doing it better than him.
Yeah, I think we were talking about that too when we were talking to Haley. It's just like Cody Rhodes has all of his signature moves and he's the best person to do them. So the cutter, I mean, we see MJF hit a better crossroads than Cody has ever hit later in this pay-per-view. Like, and then ultimately this ladder match becomes a table ladder chair match as tables and chairs start getting included into it. And this is a great match to kind of start the crowd going into the night. Got almost 20 minutes for these guys to just do whatever. And ultimately, Blackpool Combat Club wins. Pac has a trios title now with Claudio and Yuta, which is an interesting team, but I think Pac kind of fits into that mold for Blackpool Combat Club. So, and I think this is also because the rumors are, you know, Lucha Brothers are on their way out, probably heading to WWE, but we don't really know. Everything's kind of been kept radio silent from them. So, I enjoyed this match though. This is a very fun opening match.
Yeah, I thought this was a hot opening match. You know, again, it's hard to kind of keep track of the action because everybody goes through tables. They get thrown off ladders. As a matter of fact, I think Juice took a really nasty spot during this match where he just gets like straddled on the rope. But it looked like he hit really fucking hard.
Oh yeah, he does the rope like between the leg spot. There was a spot in this match where Christian goes for the spear and they land on like the end of the table as it's set up. They don't go through like the middle of the table. Like they hit like towards the end that's on the mat, and Christian looks like he hits his head on like the side of the table and everything too. And I was like, that's kind of like a rough landing for that one.
But yeah, but other than that, that was a hot opening match. You know, that's one of those things that gets the crowds going, and you know, it gets people smart on the pay-per-view.
Yeah, I don't think this smart. It's another pay-per-view paycheck for a lot of these people. Because it's like, well, these guys surely aren't going to win. Like, what was it? Like when you look at the card and you look at like, say the Bang Bang Gang, you're like, they're not going to win that.
Yeah, it would have made sense for them to win it again after they were, you know, had the belts taken off of them.
And stuff like that. And this is the first match on the main card that we've already had like half the roster on the show anyway. So I mean, good on them.
Yeah, no kidding.
Between this and the pre-show, half the roster has been paid for the pay-per-view.
Half the other cards already on.
Before we got to the first match, so that's a good thing though, you know. Also, one more thing, quick mention. During the pre-show, also Jamie Hayter returned and she attacks.
Yes, there was that too. Paige came out sprouting shit about how she's tired of not getting booked and she's don't challenge anybody, and we do get Jamie Hayter returning, which on the pre-show feels kind of bad, but
in her hometown, in her
hometown. Yeah, on the pre-show, are you kidding me?
And honestly, that was a segment that could have been stuck somewhere where another match was later, and I'll get into that.
Yeah, so
you can talk about Jericho Hook. It's fine.
Yeah, Jericho and Hook could have been swapped with a Page.
There was another match too.
Yeah. I don't like the placement of the second match. I feel like probably the Women's World Champion should still be a little more of an importance over the TBS title, even though the star power is on the TBS title right now. Like, I still feel like that should be further on the card in some way. But Tony and Mariah, this fucking match was so fun. And this led to something else later in the card. And then something after that, which we'll get into that now. At some point during the match, Mariah kisses Nigel McGuinness. Later in the show, he returns. And then after the show, because Nigel's a big Oasis fan, Oasis announces something. So Mariah May's kiss has powered out of wrestling into something else.
Mariah May has caused a domino effect.
Yes.
So it has reunited Oasis somehow.
There's some butterfly effect shit going on here.
Yeah. But I really like that. They're right at the start. Once that bell rings, they're already into like a brawl. Like, these two women hate each other.
Something I appreciate about the way AEW does pay-per-views is, you know, they'll have silly spots where people are like, oh my God, what the fuck are these guys doing during, you know, Dynamite or Collision or, you know, whatever else. But they'll buckle down and actually perform like really good matches during pay-per-views, specifically to make sure people get their money's worth.
Yeah. I think this is where you like save like the big stuff.
This is where you save the high spots. This is where you save all of the good stuff.
Yeah.
And that's how it should be.
Yeah.
And AW is really conscious about that sometimes too. Like, I don't think you'll see Swerve wrestle a match like he did on this card on like a random like Wednesday, you know. He'll still put on a good match, but he'll save like the story beat spots for, you know, the bigger matches.
But you know what? That's how it should be, though. You know, you need to use the shows to build towards pay-per-views, and I think this is starting to grasp that concept now.
Because there was a spot that God, it was Tony Storm and someone else, and they're like trying to do a World of Sports spot, the one where, you know, they go under the legs and all of that stuff.
That was with Paige, I think.
Oh, was it Paige? Yeah, they were conning the shit out of that spot.
Yeah, it was very, very World of Sports esque.
It was bad.
We get
bad.
that.
World of Sports has not aged well.
It has not, and we get it again later in the Casino Gauntlet match with Zack Sabre and Nigel McGuinness. They do the exact same like shit, and I'm like, it does not. It has not aged well. I mean, the British crowd loved it, but it has not aged well, like visually.
But I think in Tony and Paige's case, I think they just kind of did it with a comedic twist. That's why it looked.
Yeah, they tried to make it funny. They tried to make it like haha funny. You can tell when they're like trying to make a parody of it versus like later on, as you were saying, where Nigel McGuinness actually does like World of Sport and is trying to make that spot look earnest.
Yeah. Really amping up Mariah as a heel now. She slapped her own mother during this match.
That was insane.
That's insane.
Casually slapped her own mom just for no fucking reason.
Just slapped her in the face and then looked at the camera like.
And then Tony
just kept walking.
I think that's when Tony like loses her shit, because next time when I came into this watching the pay-per-view, Mariah was already busted open in this match too. Mariah's wrestling, you know, blood half down, half side of her face.
Yeah, I think she took like a Storm Zero on the steps, and that's what caused that.
Yeah, and
Shirakawa was in the crowd, right?
Yeah,
she was in the crowd. She is the new Rev Pro like British Women's Champion, which is really cool. Mm-hmm. Luther does get involved in by way of, you know, Mariah just randomly drop kicking him, and then he saves Tony from getting hit with the title later in the match. So Luther being a great like supporting character once again. And it's just so crazy thinking about Luther and like how he arrived in this company. He arrived as part of the Nightmare Collective before that storyline was like dropped faster than anything else in AEW. But he like showed up, and then it's like he's just kind of wrestled with Sir Penico as like an enhancement talent, and then he's like, you know what, we need like a butler figure. Hey Luther, can you do this? And this man has like just made that role his. Like, it's just been such a great transition.
Really I'm
wondering what's going to happen now, because there was like a backstage like video that went on Twitter at some point during the pay-per-view of like Tony leaving the arena and leaving Luther behind. So I'm hoping like he at least sticks around with her in some way, or if, you know, he can get like a new role to play for somebody. I think it'd be fun to see him like down on his luck, like unemployed butler, and then maybe get somebody like, you know, Peter Avalon to hire him or something and have like a comedy like duo with them. Because I still love Peter Avalon. Him and Brandon Cutler's first to one win rivalry on AEW Dark was still one of the better storylines that I think AEW's done in like any recent years. It's like you're actually invested on these two idiots for the most part. But Mariah hits like a back-to-back knee strikes and then hits Tony with Storm Zero and walks out as champion. And so happy they just pulled the trigger. You know, it's like, oh no, screw over finish to get Mariah more pissed off. It's like, no, she dominated Tony and she got the championship, and now we get to see the reign of Mariah May. So
yeah, that was definitely the right call. She has kind of she's kind of been a central figure in this Tony Storm storyline for the last 9 months or so. She's highly entertaining. It was just the right time to do it, you know. That's what you should do. You just establish new stars. And she's amazing.
This should go a long way to establishing her.
Yeah.
She's only the 9th world champion, women's champion.
Yeah, I think it's like this company is still that young. Like, they're, aside from like the TNT title, like a lot of these belts have only had a few champions on them. Because they've also made like title reigns mean something for the most part. It's not just aside from the TNT title, a lot of these belts just aren't hot hot swapping, except for, Punk and Moxley, but that's a whole other, thing.
It's a whole other can of worms.
Yeah.
Right.
Speaking of titles, though, the one title that I think everybody just stops caring about at this point. I even think Taz tweeted out something. It's like we've had talks, and it might be time to let it go. So Taz, I think, might be talking to somebody, probably talking to Tony about just getting rid of the FTW championship at this point. So
yeah. I read somewhere on Twitter that a lot of people went to the bathroom during this match.
Oh, there was a ton of videos
don't
and shit.
blame
Like
him.
Jericho came out and everybody got up to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And this match just felt like a TV match. Honestly, it didn't overstay its welcome. It was a relatively quick match at
It was a 10-minute match.
10 minutes. Yeah, in and out.
And it should be.
Taz gets involved, choking out Brian Keith, and then Hook chokes out Jericho. Hook gets the title back, but again, this feud, I feel like it just needs to end. But they have announced that Conglomeration and Hook are now going against Jericho and Jericho's team and Roderick Strong, and I'm like, why is it still going? It's like, get Hook out of this, please. Jack Perry is TNT champion. There's still history there. Why isn't Hook going for him? Like,
and on top of that, if anybody cares, Jericho had Fozzy, performing.
the crowd was just not singing.
And everybody was just not into it.
There was no crowd to sing because they all got up to go to the bathroom. It's like visually, there is an effect for Jericho that needs to be noticed by people because it's not working anymore. Like,
and as far as Hook goes, if they don't do something with him, I really think he should just go to NXT.
I think this thing, especially with Taz, probably kind of in his ear about it too. It's like, hey, if they just don't start treating you right or something, we can
I think
talk to Sean about NXT. I think he'd benefit from it.
Hook would develop so much under NXT, I believe, because what they're doing with him right now, they're just kind of, having him chase his tail. He's grinding his gears right now, and that's all he's doing. It's going in circles.
His dad's world. It's like he's going after his dad's title, like this little contained universe of the FTW title in AEW. It's not working anymore.
The Jericho Galaxy.
The Tazverse. Also, this whole fucking pay-per-view, Taz, just shut the fuck up and stop putting yourself over. Like, this whole goddamn pay-per-view.
I'm glad that other people started to notice when I said something.
It just, I'm just like, just shut the fuck up.
This is nothing new with Taz. He's done this for years. In every company he's done commentary in, TNA, WWE, AEW. I mean, he's not going to change. So I'm just going along with it at this point.
Insipid Taz commentary.
Yeah.
I'm glad that it was after this match that Haley joined us, though. So she didn't have to watch this.
Oh, she got lucky.
Get Hook to do something else, man. Like, what the fuck?
Anything.
Jericho, go on tour, get out of the fucking scene for a little while. Like, please just leave. I'm glad to see that people are cheering Big Bill, though. Like, Big Bill is still getting a very positive reception.
Mm-hmm.
So let's do something with that, please. So, yeah. God, I just fucking hate Jericho matches. We get into the triple threat for the tag team championships. This is when Haley joins us. She was saying, like, she hates the Young Bucks because of how they look. She hates the whole aesthetic. She liked FTR because of their pants, and she liked the Acclaim because of the colors of their gear and stuff like that.
This is between FTR and the Acclaim, this was very Bret Hart centric with all the pink and black going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there was
this
the
match
with I don't know.
Yeah, they're just looking like Steven Seagal, like ponytails and
shit
she referred to Cash Wheeler as the guy with the skull on his butt.
Yeah, because he had the
which was the funniest thing.
Not a lot really like stood out in this match. It was just good tag team wrestling, as you'd expect from like a tag team triple threat. I mean, the Acclaimed Bucks and FTR are all good tag team wrestlers. I do think, though, I still want to see an Anthony Bowen solo run at some point.
I still do too. That dude is phenomenal.
Like this match,
mean,
he's just so great to watch. I'm just like, come on, just a little bit of a solo run, just something.
something.
The Bucks win. I don't remember how. I know like the match just kind of ended. And then we get a nice little arrival. We get grizzled young veterans arriving, going face to face with the Bucks, and then turning around to jump FTR, which I'm excited about. I'm
kind of in for that. They're gonna beat the fuck out of each other.
I want to see these two teams wrestle more than I want to see grizzled young veterans and young Bucks wrestle. I want to see FTR and grizzled go at it.
Like, you know, there's gonna be a stiff match.
They're gonna beat the shit out of each other. Yeah.
This gets, if it does happen, this gets FTR out of the young Bucks orbit. They get to go do something new now, because it has just been like FTR and Bucks for a majority of the last year or so.
There aren't a lot of tag teams. They're all trios.
They're all trios. So yeah, I don't know what's next for the Acclaimed after this either. I think they might still be feuding with the Bucks, but who knows? Just good classic tag team wrestling. A 12-minute long match. Didn't overstay. Didn't get to, have a huge build and then just abruptly end. So, yeah, kind of liked it. Then we get to the chaos. I just wrote whoever the fuck entered. I didn't really take notes for actual things in this match because there was so much. The Orange Man starts. Haley's very excited about the Orange Man. She loves Orange Cassidy.
That one lone firework that goes up, but also they have the top
shot.
Yeah,
the aerial shot of the one firework going up.
That was really good.
That was really funny. I lost
my shit at that moment because it's like they really cut through a whole stadium shot just to show one firework going.
Yeah,
off.
It's great.
I love that. Nice touch.
But we get Orange Cassidy and Okada to start. And actually looking at this, I'm kind of like, I don't want to see Orange Cassidy go for the Continental title. That might be a fun little run. Okada, once again, built to be one of the GOATs, wants to be a silly little guy. Yep. They do the hug spot, and Okada's looking all happy, and then just drops the expression to the serious.
Drops immediately.
And I'm like, he's destined to be the GOAT, desires to be silly. Like,
well, it's gonna go down. If he never goes in the WWE, it's gonna go down as one of the best wrestlers to never go to the WWE.
Yeah, absolutely.
But also just wants to be a silly little guy the whole time.
He just wants to be a silly little guy.
Because the thing is, I started watching Okada with about 2014, 2015. Mm-hmm. Oh, as a matter of fact, no, I saw him first in TNA way back in the day because he was like Samoa Joe.
They gave him that really shitty name in TNA.
Yeah, like Okado is what it was. So I first saw him there, and then it's like the last 10 years of Okada has just been him, being constantly the best wrestler in the world.
Banger after banger after banger.
Banger after banger, this super serious character. And then he just goes to AEW. He's like, you know what? I just want to do something.
I can wrestle at a top level and be a silly little guy.
And that's what he's doing. And it is appreciated because I didn't realize Okada could be this damn funny.
Yeah. We get the countdown timer to the third contestant. And Nigel McGuinness is back in a wrestling ring. And this crowd went crazy for it. And he looks in great shape.
He got a bigger pop than
that man's been wearing. That man's been hiding that behind a suit for like 3 weeks.
Yes. Stealth builds. Yeah, I think it's actually called like a sleeper build, but yeah, so Nigel McGuinness is back. Your British crowd goes nuts. He starts doing all the little World of Sports spots, like hanging upside down on turnbuckle and doing like the little foot out kick. But most people don't fall for it. Fourth up, Kyle O'Reilly enters. Nice little back and forth there as the action continues to build. Fifth contestant, Zack Sabre Jr., hot off a G1 Climax win.
Zack Sabre Jr. had good stuff going.
They had a very fun World Wrestling spot, but again, I think Nigel was like trying to sell it as ultra serious instead of like silly, like it should be. But let's talk Zack Sabre Jr. This man's rise in this last year has just been crazy. Like, New Japan needs a new star, and I feel like they're just putting it all on Zack.
Yeah, because he just won the G1 Climax. Matter of fact, he's coming into this pay-per-view fresh off of that. And I think that's the right move by New Japan Pro Wrestling, is just establishing a guy like Zach to be the future, to be the immediate future of the company, because he can help build some of those young guys over there as well. While showing up while periodically showing up on AEW and doing this thing to get some of the best. But yeah, this is only the beginning for Zack Sabre Jr., I believe.
Yeah, and we also are having some storylines build here. Zack Sabre Jr. and Orange Cassidy also had a very notorious rivalry from all the Forbidden Door pay-per-views and all the build-ups to those. What did Haley say? His trunks didn't fit, so it looks like he's wearing a diaper.
Well, she said that with a lot of people wearing trunks.
Yeah, but I mean, I think Zack Sabre Jr.'s were like a little looser. Like they were probably a little more baggier than the actual just wrestling trunks that everybody else had.
Yeah.
After Zach, we get Roderick Strong coming in, just hitting great backbreakers like he does. Him and Kyle O'Reilly have a little back and forth, that story and that, history still there. Adam Page comes in, lays out everybody. This man's on a warpath right now. He wants to ruin Swerve. He's going into this match wanting to get that contract. I love this unhinged version of Adam Page so much.
It's good.
Oh, so do I. It's really good.
It's the picture I think I shared in the Discord was just Suffering builds character, and it's just Adam Page, and it's just Suffering builds character all the way around him. Like, there's no end game. Just Suffering builds character. It's just a pissed off Adam Page. Jeff Jarrett is next, and I mean, British crowds they pop for the strut. And I think we were talking about him to Haley too. It's like this man's just kind of been wrestling forever, but still looks to be in like great shape.
Kind of too long, actually.
Probably too long.
About 40 years at this point, I think.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like him and Dustin Rhodes, I think, are like the same timetable, right?
Mm-hmm.
For like wrestling. That's crazy. Then the big debut is here. That Robin R hits on the big old screen, and I'm like, it's Ricochet. Ricochet comes out, hits all the moveset that he forgot he had in WWE.
Yep.
Gets a nice little pop. And then goes right into the weirdest like Twitter engagement I've ever seen from a wrestler in a long fucking time. Ricochet starting to question what exactly is wrong with the internet wrestling community. Like, so you say you're a fan, but you're not going to watch me because I work for another company, and then him trying to like wrap his head around that logic, and I'm like, Ricochet, just stop interacting. You're not going to get far. Like,
you're not getting.
We gave up on that a long time ago, buddy.
His first feud is right into the Don Callis family with Kyle Fletcher, having called him out after his debut. So that's going to be a fun little match. I'm actually excited to see what those two can do together. Kyle Fletcher is still proving that he's a great young talent. And eventually, we're going to get that Ricochet Will Ospreay match. We have to, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's for the sickos, right? AEW is wrestling for the sickos.
You can't just not do that match at this point.
Yes.
That's what Tony said. He's like, I book for the sickos.
Yeah. So having both of those guys in the same company, you can't just not do that match at all. So that's coming eventually.
I just don't want him to pull it too soon. That's the thing.
Yeah. Oh, you got several other things you can do with Ricochet as well. I mean, there's several talents you can match him up with right now, and it'll be good.
Right now, I think the plan for Ospreay going into All Out is him versus Pac, which I didn't know I needed that match.
Yeah. And I like that match. It's a good one.
I like that match on paper. Let's see what happens.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Then Christian Cage shows up, and this man was in the trios match earlier, so he's coming out a little beat up. This man is just going for gold every chance he gets. He wants the contract now to get to the world title, which a Christian Cage world title run in AEW actually wouldn't be the worst thing for me. I think he's been such a consistent talent and such a consistent character that I think it could work for a very short, like probably transitional run between two big stars.
I would say a couple months. I would say at least 3 months.
It'd also be so hilarious. He would be such a pain in the ass.
He would be the worst person ever.
After him, Luchasaurus comes out. They had a little bit of a bickering after the trios champion, so Luchasaurus looks like he's going to turn on Christian Cage. Ends up chokeslamming the fuck out of Kyle O'Reilly. Christian pins Kyle O'Reilly wins the Casino Gauntlet Royale, and then Twitter is just like, I have never seen a roster be more mogged by a single man in the last 2 years than I've seen in AEW. Christian Cage has been a menace to the AEW roster for like 2 years now. And I'm like,
what?
He's the perfect villain. Like, he's just the perfect piece of shit villain, and he's playing it so well.
Everyone wants to see him get his ass kicked.
Everybody wants to see him. Just want to see that
And,
turtleneck
and
get
that's
taken
good.
off.
Like,
yes, he's
someone
perfect
needs to be the
heel.
Joker. He just needs to be the Joker of this whole company, and it works. It works for him. You know, I mean, he even has the evil turtleneck which he wrestles in now. I mean, so everything
He's
right now with Christian Cage, this is the best one of his career, I think.
He's such a piece of shit, and I love him. It's like, so yeah, this was a really fun gauntlet match.
I liked it.
The timing for things was a little off. It just felt like the next person would come in whenever there'd be like the down spot between everybody in the ring. It's like, okay, everybody's done their thing. Next.
It's another one of those things where it's like, there's a lot of moving parts to this match. So like that they got it so tight that they did is
oh yeah, all these guys had
remarkable.
great chemistry. Nobody felt like they were a step off. Everybody felt like they hit what they needed to do. This is just what happens when you have just natural talent like all of these guys, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty much a literal who's who of wrestlers outside of WWE.
This did feel like the work rate match, you know? Like, these were all the guys that had like the work rate for the company in some way or another. These weren't all like the flashy spots guys. These weren't any of like the big names. These are our like trusted mid-card guys. And these guys went out there, did their fucking shit. Great match. This match had what, 26 minutes even? Yeah.
Yeah, this is the point where the pay-per-view really started to ramp up. You know, we had to drudge through some of the early stuff, and right here is where I think this took a turn, because a lot of these matches that came after that, well, except -1, were actually not that bad.
Yeah. So the balls, though, to go from this casino match right into the Will Ospreay match is incredible. That's a decision.
Pretty good. Yeah.
Like, they know the crowd's going to be
off.
fired. They know the crowd's going to be fired up from this, so they're just like, fuck it, throw them out there. We get MJF and Will Ospreay for the US/International Championship. MJF being completely insufferable in a full like Lex Luger-esque American wrestling outfit. And then we get the full
come out to America. Fuck yeah.
And then we get they had the flag drop though with his face as the stars. Like, did that though, which was fantastic.
Don't forget
very entertaining.
Don't forget to mention the streamers that stayed there for the rest of the pay-per-view.
Oh yeah, all the streamers came down and they were stuck in the rafters for the rest of this pay-per-view. But then we had the integrated marketing for Will Ospreay, you know, the biggest Assassin's Creed nerd. They had a whole like intro for Assassin's Creed Shadows, which is coming out. They had the voice of Ezio actually narrating his opening, which was really cool to hear. That was cool to like verify that they actually had the voice actor do the narration. So,
and Assassin's Creed just feels like, you know, like a copy of Ghost of Tsushima to me, but you know, that's a personal opinion.
Yeah, the new one does kind of. At this point in my notes, I wrote Haley's having a blast.
Yeah.
Because she was loving how this match just fucking started. Like, Will's just doing the shit that Will does. Haley's like, I'm having a great time. So, I think one of my favorite spots in this was MJF hitting the Panama Sunrise on the apron. Just really cool spot visually. He goes for brass knuckles at some point in this match, and Masked Figure gets onto the ring and stops him. Mask comes up. Daniel Garcia is back. Continuing that story from 6 weeks ago.
About 2
5 or 6 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I think the issue was Daniel Garcia's contract was about to be up, and they're like, hey, if you don't want to resign, we've written you off. It's fine. If you want to resign, you know, we can throw you right into a feud with MJF again.
All I gotta say is let them cook.
Yeah. So Daniel Garcia's back. He takes the brass knuckles. Will finally hits the Tiger Driver again on MJF. Picks up the win. US title out. He gets the international title back from Christopher Daniels. So
If that match
good,
ended,
good
if
match.
that match ended any other way other than Will hitting the Tiger Driver, I'd have been upset because that's
Yeah.
the perfect ending to this. Because they built this whole thing with Will and the Tiger Driver for what, the last 2 months now.
Yeah, he's like, I'm
Ever
just
since
afraid
Brad
of
Ryan-
injuring somebody like I did Danielson. And then
it took Bryan Danielson to basically just say, just do it.
yeah,
Go
after
for it.
MJF bloodied Osprey up, he's like, do it. And it's like, yeah, and then Will's looking fucking crazy when he's hitting MJF with it too.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to see Garcia and MJF as a feud.
That should be a good one.
I think it's going to be a very cool, very technical, probably wrestling style. Because MJF and Garcia are not like the flashy, acrobatic kind of wrestlers.
They're very technical wrestlers.
Yeah, so it's going to be a very interesting feud to see. But yeah, I mean, this was a great match. This was probably my favorite match on the show, even with everything that happens later.
I think so, yeah.
It's either this or the casino match. I think it's between these two. It's one of these is probably my favorite match of the night.
Yeah, it's between 3 different matches: the Casino Gauntlet Battle Royal, this match, and then the main event. I think this was my second favorite match of the night, though. This would have been my favorite had it not been for the main event, though.
We'll get to the main event because there are some things in there that I liked and some things that for some reason for me it didn't have like big fight feel, but it's probably just personal opinions at that point.
Yeah.
This next match was not great, and I think it wasn't bad, but I think when we were watching it in the Discord, like I don't think anybody was really feeling this match. We got all real quiet like watching this one. This was the Britt Baker versus Mercedes Moné for the TBS title. We all popped for the corgis during Mercedes' entrance, though. She had corgis in her carriage, not wagon. I was ridiculed in the Discord about it.
One of them was going to jump out of the carriage also, so but
Yeah, I called it a wagon, and the Discord ate me alive. So, this match has a weird energy to it because everything that has come out after this match has been, is it Mercedes' fault for not being like a great wrestler, or is it Britt's fault for like very obviously at points sandbagging Mercedes? And it's just like, I don't know. I think it might be a combination of both, but there are very clearly like times where like Britt's not helping Mercedes like lift her, and it's just, but I don't think Mercedes knows how to handle that kind of situation. She just keeps trying. So this match had a very weird energy to it. I don't think Britt was feeling this feud or maybe the result of this match and just didn't want to really go into it. Because this was also shit that Thunder Rosa brought up about her too. And I'm just like, I think, I don't want to say it, but I think Britt may probably have an ego at times. But this match just was not great between these two women.
This match I really felt like should have taken place earlier in the evening, and
swap this and Mariah May.
They could, Tony and Mariah should have been sandwiched in between the Casino Gauntlet and the Will Ospreay MJF match. I don't know what it is between them two, but both were really off, and I'm gonna say this. Mercedes, I think that injury may have kind of affected her a bit. That injury that she had before she got to AEW while she was in Japan still, because she is not what she has been in years past. And I think that has a little bit to do with it. That little layoff kind of made her a little rusty. Also, I don't like her new finisher. It just seems really...
The finisher is convoluted as shit. It's like...
Yeah.
It's not really like a real impact to it either. And also, I think it would work if she was... I think it would work if she was bigger. I think if Camille does that finisher, it probably looks better.
Yeah.
If Jade
Cargill does that finisher, it probably looks a lot better.
I think Mercedes just too small to be lifting people like that and trying to hit that move,
Yeah.
Speaking of which, Camille looks great. I want to see her in more, solo stuff. She's a great like enforcer look, but I would love to see her kind of be like a powerhouse in the division too. Rather than just be stuck as like, a bodyguard figure.
Oh, she's fantastic in the ring. Like you go watch some of her stuff in the NWA.
Yeah, she was a NWA women's
champion
champion for a while, from what I know.
She was killing it now down there. So when they let her, actually get a chance to wrestle, she's gonna be phenomenal.
Yeah. So like this match was definitely like not great, but I mean it
fine.
It was fine.
Yeah. It was okay.
Mercedes hits finish and wins. Just kind of there, and then we have a match that got time cut from it, which was something that was talked about after the pay-per-view, is that they did cut time because apparently they forgot that Britain has a like transportation curfew. So they had to cut some time from a match to ensure that, the audience could get to where they were going.
Got home. Yeah.
So I think they said like 7 to 10 minutes was cut off of this match for Darby and Jack Perry, which it did feel like it. This match felt real too short for what it was. Just over 10 minutes.
Longer.
To be fair though, with everything that happened post match, this was like a 7-minute match. Well, I think the time for the match doesn't count what happened afterwards. But yeah, 10-minute match. I mean, Darby comes out already looking kind of pissed off. I think they told him when he was coming out, hey, we got to cut your match short. He has thumbtacks on his face, which was an interesting choice.
Mm-hmm.
We're like 2 minutes in.
Choice he made.
We're like 2 minutes into the match, and there's already like glass spots happening. In this match, it's just Darby getting mugged by Jack Perry, basically. Darby got his ass kicked in this match. And I think
Darby moment.
I think the cut for time didn't help. I think it's like, hey, we need to just make Jack look strong. But Darby looked completely outclassed in this fucking match, which was crazy to see. They get him into the body bag and then into the casket. This was a casket match. Then the Young Bucks come out with gasoline, which I think Haley said looks more like olive oil.
It was like it is olive oil.
It was olive oil. They're about to set him on fire, and Sting is back to save Darby. Probably not a full return, but he comes back to save Darby. So a nice little pop for the English crowd, seeing Sting there. Nice little return. And yeah, 10 minutes. Just
in and out 10 minutes.
In and out 10 minutes.
And I can only imagine what they would have done if they had got more time than that. But,
yeah,
I guess this is something that we'll never.
I don't think this match needed that long anyway.
I think 15 minutes probably would have been enough, but the time that got cut definitely affected the pace of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I think they probably wanted.
But I don't think they needed that long.
I think they wanted more in-ring stuff before they got to like the ramp stuff that was happening, but they like Darby dove out of the fucking ring, hit the casket, dented it, and then it's like, we'll just go up the ramp and do like the body bag stuff and
Darby
all that.
Moment.
Darby moment. And then the main event. This is the title versus career match. I legitimately thought Danielson was going to retire here and put over Swerve. Because I also felt like this was. I felt like this is not the time. I said this in the
Discord. I was like, well, I wouldn't be mad about who wins this match.
I'm not. Yeah, it's like I wouldn't be mad if he wins, but I just personally, part of me feels like maybe it's still too short of a reign for Swerve. I mean, what it was 120 days, I believe, was his reign. So about 4 months?
About 4 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it might have been a little too short, but considering that Wrestle Dream is in Tacoma, which is his hometown, I think we're going to probably get the rematch or something there. 2 hometown guys in their hometown. Like, it'd be a great, like, big fight feel for that. This is also Swerve just dismantling Danielson for most of this match.
Yeah.
Like, good on Swerve and Danielson to have this chemistry. Like, Swerve looked like an absolute star. Danielson helped them do that. But, I mean, these two guys are great. And just
Swerve
great wrestlers.
And then Swerve having his evil moments here and there where he just pretty much
Oh yeah, people
yelling
forget
at
Swerve is a
Bree and his
heel.
daughter. Yeah.
Like people cheer for him, but Swerve is a heel still.
And he was just pretty much telling, Birdie that I'm gonna send it. You want your daddy home, I'm gonna do you a favor and just send him home for you.
Yeah.
Man, he sure did do that.
Yeah.
So
I forgot about that part.
So yeah, Danielson gets busted open during this match. There's the spot where he hits the Psycho knee on Swerve. Swerve hits the turnbuckle and then just like stays on his feet and brushes off his chest. And at that moment, I was like, Danielson's losing this fucking match. Like that was the moment I was like, they're going to make Swerve look like an absolute monster winning this match. Because I was like, that's such a good like crowd response to that too. When they realized that Swerve wasn't going down, he just stood there. I'm like, he's like, they're going to make him look like a fucking monster. And they kind of did. I mean,
yeah,
Danielson
Swerve
also
like $1 million this entire match.
He did, hitting 3 house calls on Danielson. There's the great spot though of Danielson just looking at his family while taking kicks and getting to his feet. Like it's just a great, like classic spot. Wrestling like face like power up. There was, if you watch a clip of him hitting was it the high pressure, like big driver pressure, big pressure, like you'll see the crowd driver. Like you'll see like people in the crowd like the hands go on the head, like everybody thought like that was it. It was such like a convincing lead up to what looks like a finish to a match. And then Danielson kicks out and everybody in the stadium fucking loses their mind.
Everyone loses their shit.
And then somebody jumps the guardrail. Who could it be? It's Adam Page. He is here. A
little unhinged cowboy.
And he is pulled away by security. Danielson manages to sneak in a Psycho knee when Swerve turns around. Match starts to turn. And yeah, Danielson wins and is now the new AEW champion.
When I was listening to this scrum, it sounded like it was something that happened like very suddenly. Given how he talked about how it kind of came about, because they were talking about like how this is something that just happened like very suddenly, and that how this is like. Because he was talking about, I think someone asked him about who he wanted to face, and he was like, I haven't even thought about that yet. I was supposed to have retired.
Well, see, the thing was, when Danielson came in, all that he was saying is like, I don't care about winning the world title. I just want to be here to help like younger talent. I want to take part in, helping backstage. He never wanted to be world champion, but I think it's just one of those things where Tony's just like, just for a little bit, just. I'll just give you the moment, stuff like that. And Danielson, I think, just being a nice guy is like, well, he's asking nicely.
Yeah, I don't think.
But also, kudos to Swerve for also not having the ego to fight it. He went out there, he made Danielson look like $1 million. Danielson made him look like $1 million. And now Swerve can be pissed off at Adam Page for costing him a match, technically. And we can get that feud reignited.
As far as Danielson goes, I don't think he's going to be champion for too long. This is probably going to be maybe a couple months at best. Maybe
it's like
him to Wrestle Dream. Yeah.
I think Wrestle Dream will, because like I said, Tacoma, Washington, him and Swerve's hometown. Maybe they'll write up the storyline of like, hey, it was our match, and then, Adam Page got involved. 1-on-1, let's do it clean. Maybe Swerve gets his title back.
Yeah.
But just... oh God, I cannot wait to see if Swerve takes that, very personally for Hangman. I'm like, what do you do after the Texas Death match? Do you just go straight lights out, like unsanctioned at a pay-per-view, and just let these two guys destroy each other?
Yep. That's the only way you can do that.
Tony Khan's will be like, I am not responsible for what happens to either of you in this match. Sign these contracts. Go at it. Just.
And then they do.
And then it's just hopefully better than Gargano and Ciampa's unsanctioned match. That Gargano Ciampa feud ending with that unsanctioned match was not great. Like everything else in the build was fantastic. Just that final like that lights out match where he like took his wedding ring. I'm like, God, this match fucking sucks. Like that was also like I think right before COVID. So that was right before their main roster call-ups, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think both of those things are true.
Yeah. Or that was I think that was before the switch to actually the old the like Surfer NXT. As I want to call it, because it has all like the surf pattern.
2.0.
Yeah. I think that was
Yeah.
like the last of the original like brand before they started reverting shit.
I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, remember NXT 2.0?
Yes, I hate it.
But
It
yeah.
has gotten better since.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so yeah, Danielson is champion. I don't feel like he's going to be champion for long. Probably just from personal, thoughts about it. I don't think he wants to be the top guy when there's all these other younger guys that can easily carry this company.
Also, before we like start wrapping up and talking about kind of what we thought about pay-per-view as a whole, I have some free advice for those of you who are like into wrestling journalism, who get invited to a media scrum and
don't
want to
be
ask
Dave
a question,
Meltzer
and want to ask a question about a wrestler. Don't ask them about their divorce.
Yes, there was that. And then Dave Meltzer, being an absolutely fucking disgusting journalist, doesn't ask Danielson if he wants to wrestle in, Australia or Japan. He asks his fucking daughter if she would like to visit those countries.
What the fuck is
I will say,
journalist?
I will say that was something that Danielson opened up Q&A for Birdie.
Yeah, but fucking Meltzer knows better. Like, what the fuck?
I know.
Like Meltzer, please stop.
Doesn't ask, hey, how do you feel about your dad being champion in like another company or something? It's like, hey, let's see if I can make him feel guilty, and maybe his daughter wants to visit these other countries, so he has to wrestle in them now. Like, that's all I got out of that Dave Meltzer fucking question. I'm
also,
like,
who the hell goes to a presser and asks about somebody's personal shit? Okay,
dude,
can't we just stick to the fucking topic of?
They asked Mercedes Moné about her divorce, and I'm like, bro, really?
Why?
Like,
that has nothing to do with anything that happened tonight.
It's like, bro, it's like the divorce is shitty, but she also just had a very like rough match tonight. So I mean, she's not feeling the best. So,
like,
whoever that was, just ban that guy from the damn presses from now on.
It's this, like, these guys ostensibly get media training. They should know better than that.
What gets me is I think during that scrum too, like, nobody asked about All In Texas. Nobody asked about Ricochet signing.
Nope.
Like, nobody asked any actual fucking questions. I'm just like, Tony, god damn it, dude. You need to have better control over this shit. Like, actual fucking questions from the wrestling media, please.
I guarantee you, none of them would have asked this shit during the WWE scrum. I think they do that because they know they can somewhat get away with it.
Yeah, it's just, it's like, stupid. God, stupid. Yeah, so also, final thoughts on this pay-per-view. I enjoyed it. Once again, AEW rarely misses with their pay-per-views. Even their worst ones are still good. So it's just
even their like low-hanging fruit still real good.
Yeah, I think the worst one we've had anything to say about was one last year.
No, it's still the one where you had the fucking exploding barbed wire match. Whatever pay-per-view that was.
That's still their lowest point.
That's still their lowest point, and even that was still back during COVID. I think it was still good too. Like, that was early AEW days, so you had the whole like early roster there.
But overall, I thought this was fine. It was great. Well, All In was better last year, but this had some pretty good spots. Had some matches that could have just not happened at all.
With the exception of the Darby Jack Perry spot with the glass, I'm happy that there was not any overt mentions to what happened last year. Like, they completely brushed Brawl Out from last year under the rug. Nobody on commentary really brought it up. Nobody made any other kind of references to it except for, Jack Perry, but that's his character. Yeah. I'm glad they were very mature.
Jack Perry's the only one really allowed to, right?
Yeah, they were very mature about not relying on that for like cheap, commentary or cheap pops or anything.
Right.
A little bit of growth, which I'm happy to see.
Good.
So yeah, I mean, like I said, even their worst pay-per-views are still very fun to watch. I enjoyed this one. now we got Bash of Berlin, and then we'll have All Out, which again, just fucking Pac and Osprey. I think it's just going to steal the show for me. I don't even need to see the rest of the fucking card. Like,
that's the one to watch.
Unfortunately, we do have some wrestling news for this week, though. We did lose Sid Erdy, I believe is how you say his last name. Psycho Sid, Sid Vicious, Sid Justice, however you knew him from WCW and WWE.
And ECW.
And ECW. You just make sure it's Sid Erdy. Passed away earlier this week. His son went to social media to announce it. A long bout with cancer, apparently. And
he mentioned something about wanting to have been in the Hall of Fame like months before too.
Yeah. A lot of just history with a bunch of big stars in both companies. I think also briefly was a tag team partner with Undertaker before he left for WWF.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was Shawn Michaels' enforcer for a little bit too.
He was Shawn Michaels' enforcer for a bit. No, it wasn't. It was Dan Spivey.
They were skyscrapers in WCW.
Yeah.
And I think Undertaker took his place.
And then I think like the most recent thing he had done, or he was also on the indies for a while. Like there's a clip going around of him power bombing some young guy on the indie scene, and that young guy is a very early Sami Zayn.
Sami Zayn, yeah.
He wasn't even it was even before he was El Generico. Like, so I mean he's just been, yeah, it's just, man, we've lost a lot of classic wrestlers over this last year, you know. I think just a few episodes ago, we were talking about, losing Virgil and stuff like that too. Just time keeps marching on, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But God, take Hogan at some point. Like, just
what?
It's like take Hogan at some point. Just
Jesus.
Why are we losing all the good ones first? I feel like the more evil you are, the longer you exist. It just kind of fucking sucks. But yeah, so that was
citation
that
needed.
Citation needed. Existence. But yeah, so that's unfortunately the wrestling news for this week. And yeah, we are in our stretch of pay-per-views now. This is going to be fun.
Oh yeah, big time.
What do we have on the docket? Because we do have, like I said, Bash at Berlin next week, and then we have All Out, and then I think we have something 2 weeks after All Out.
If we do, it'd be a WWE pay-per-view, no?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the dates here. So what, September something is that? We're not going to watch Bad Blood, are we?
Where's Bad Blood taking place at?
It's in Atlanta. It's in Atlanta. It's the main roster pay-per-view.
Okay. Yeah, it's a main roster pay-per-view. I don't see why not.
Yeah, we could do that.
So say, do you want to take a break?
For the content, no, the people come here to watch. But the thing is, I feel like Bad Blood's gonna be one of those B pay-per-views that's gonna have like 4 matches on it, you know?
Oh, you know it because it's not a major pay-per-view, so yeah, 5 matches and that'd be a quick episode.
So yeah, we'd have All Out in September, and then I think we actually have a break until October, where October 5th is Bad Blood, and then October 12th is Wrestle Dream, and then November 30th is Survivor Series.
Mm-hmm.
So we
That's
should,
not too bad.
Yeah, we should have, we should have like a very open October and November, thankfully. So we got a break, but then I think like from November on until like January, it's just like loaded with pay-per-views. Survivor Series, World's End, and then Wrestle Dynasty, which I think we'll mention. I don't think we're gonna watch. That's all Japan.
Yeah, you gotta get up way too early in the morning to watch that. So no,
it's like midnight, I think, over here for us to watch Wrestle Dynasty.
2 a.m.
Yeah. Grand Slam is September 25th, and that's the Australia show.
Yeah.
For AEW. They're doing a stadium show now.
Ah.
I guess
So,
they couldn't
yeah.
get Arthur Ashe this time, so yeah, that makes sense.
Isn't Arthur Ashe like smaller?
Yeah.
Well,
They're
it's
doing
20,000.
a
It's like a stadium.
Yeah, they're doing a stadium show in Australia, which means we're probably going to put a belt on Buddy Matthews, hopefully.
Oh,
A nice
God.
little hometown pop.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah. But yeah, so actually a very busy September into October. I was like, there are 3 pay-per-views in September. Where's the third one? And it was the one that
There it is. You found it.
announced. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. But we've been kind of rambling about the pay-per-views for a while. So thank you everybody for watching. If you're watching it on YouTube, again, we have audio versions on Spotify and any other podcast service that you might listen to. If you're listening on Spotify, we do have YouTube where you can see our beautiful faces and sometimes blurry cameras or frozen cameras. So fantastic production. You guys can follow us on Twitter, which we don't use often, but I am going to start getting better about posting when episodes go up. So if you miss it on anything, follow the Twitter, you'll see the update. And yeah, I got nothing else to add. Do you guys have anything you want to add or plug?
Solid pay-per-view.
Sorry, there was almost the impromptu trip yesterday. Decision to go see Wrestle Dream in Washington, and then common sense kicked in, and I'm like, I would have to spend $1,500 and 6 days on a train to go to Seattle to see this. So it's like, you know what? We'll save it for next time.
Yeah.
I told Haley, I was like, Haley, if you're going to go to that show, you need to tell me because I will commit to it. And it's like, probably not. It's like, cool, saves me some money. I was fully committed to spending $1,000 on train tickets yesterday. Because I hate flying.
Yeah.
And I don't want to fly across the fucking country. Especially with all this Boeing shit going on right now. So.
Yeah, understandable.
Yeah.
I am not a gambling man. So.
Don't lie to me. I've seen your
games. As I play gotcha games. But yeah. So. Thank you all for watching. We will see you next week. Then the week after. And then 2 weeks after. So. Fantastic. All right, guys. Catch you around.
Bye.
Later.